Let me provide for you a very abbreviated version of what's happened over the last few years of my life and where it stands now with a look going forward. In 2019 and 20, I was preparing proposals that were meritorious of grants and or contracts in the aerospace advanced physics fields for my advancement of my work in the nature of gravitation and its engineerability, as well as so-called over unity electricity generation, ultra efficient energy generation that springs from emerging understandings that are nearing genuine historic breakthroughs in the core discipline of physics, which has been my life work since college. In 19 and 20, those proposals began in circulation, and an expectation of response was high on my part. And this story began effectively with the hijacking of that information by what the FBI has determined is an international financial crime syndicate that has been targeting American citizens to the tune of, reported according to the agent in charge that I'm working with, some $13 billion just in 2023 alone, stolen from American citizens, using tactics that involve much more than simple scamming, but social engineering, using social engineering amongst friends and family members and colleagues to lend authenticity to what is essentially an attempt at theft. This network invaded MySpace in 2020 and 2021 and effectively began the process of impersonating federal agencies and institutions, at least a half a dozen banks being misrepresented and or falsely represented, and all the way to the impersonation of local police departments, not just caller ID, but AI-assisted means of convincing friends and family members, for example, of my stepmother, that I was taking advantage of her, which was absurd and false. After nearly 20 months in detention, while all this was unwound, all the charges against me but one were dropped in the Virginia Menlove case brought by her sisters that alleged that I was stealing money or her identity for nefarious means, none of which was at all true. She was being attacked by the same crime syndicate that I was. They also attacked my colleagues, both directly and through me, by deceiving me as to the nature of what I was expecting over some years as a formal government response, perhaps previewed or preceded by a private sector effort to do the appropriate background checks on me and such. All of this was turned out to be a grand misdeception, which unfortunately I fell for until I didn't, and that process was well underway in 2023. Along the way, one of my financial colleagues, Mr. Max Marmer, who I informed by January of 2022-23 of the dawning realization that we may have been duped, and wrote to him and formalized the absorption of that debt into a personal guarantee status, to be repaid at the soonest possible moment by yours truly. And this was in January of 2023. Unfortunately, he got impatient with the lack of repayment of that and decided instead to file a group lawsuit against me and my most distinguished colleagues, grant recipients to be, scholars like Ken Wilber and Bob Richards and physicist David Hessinus. These are my colleagues, and to be accused of running a Ponzi scheme while we were trying to unwind this going on around me was absurd and insulting. But the efforts of Virginia Menlow's sisters to investigate me took priority, and I was disabled by the arrest in November of 2023 of responding to the absurd claims of the Ponzi schemers and such. Nor was I able to present evidence that would exonerate me. Fortunately, the FBI did, and ultimately the charges against me were dropped, with the exception of effectively me pleading to what will become a misdemeanor in negligence of not stopping a home mortgage application that Virginia asked me to help her make. It was stopped. Suffice to say, it never happened. But nonetheless, to avoid drawing this out any further and to show some respect to the feelings of Virginia's family, I did agree to that, to bring this case to a conclusion. The FBI will, I'm sure, be issuing some report on this crime syndicate at some juncture in the future. I have no idea whether they'll specifically address my case, but suffice to say that I met with the FBI twice, and as a partial consequence of those meetings, the charges were dropped against me. Now I'm back in land of the free and home of the brave, and trying to recover my life and get back on a decent track. And I would deeply appreciate your assistance in that. I was financially flattened by this unfortunate turn of affairs. Forgive my messy hair. It's a lovely day here to walk. But I was financially flattened, and I've been through enough in my long career to pull myself back up quickly. But I need the help of some friends to equip me with the basics so that I can. And so I'm in the need of about $30,000 to comprise first and last month's security deposit on a very small one-bedroom apartment here in Salt Lake, and to secure an automobile. Mine was lost in this this whole process for the last 2 years, and some living expenses just for 60 to 90 days while I reconstitute my home office consulting business in science, technology, and all things internet, which is otherwise my day job. Brings in an income. I just need to restart that, my friends. So I'm asking for those who love me for all the right reasons to be understanding and be as supportive as you can, and I'll be happy to repay anybody and then some as swiftly as I can. Please get back to me when you can, and or Mr. Bob Richards, my good friend in Denver, Colorado, and you can contact either one of us to help me out. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye. One of the true high points of the last 5 years of tumult in my life, and the one thing I've been able to do uninterrupted almost in the past 2+ years is the deep work in physics of reasoning on open problems, and truly the depth of thought that's involved in understanding the evidence that physics produces in the course of experiments, both large and small, and around us, and in extremely refined instruments, particle accelerators and such. That research over the past decades for me has been thorough, and in the past 5 years has focused in on unanswered questions at the core of physics that involve the nature of charges and their arrangement, their geometrical function, and properties of fundamental charges that comprise atoms and molecules. We use these words, charge, atom, and molecule, as if they're oftentimes closed subjects that we know everything about, and nothing could be further from the truth. We know an immense amount about the behavior of all particles of matter these modern days, but we do not understand, we have not understood what the true nature of the gravitational force is, and its relationship to the electric and magnetic fields, or the electromagnetic field. Over the past handful of years, I have focused like a laser beam in this area and worked in collaboration with highly experienced and senior colleagues in this field who have focused on the right questions, such as what is the meaning of a positive and negative charge, and is it possible to reveal a mechanism of gravitation that's technologically controllable and accessible in a certain sense, as in modern times we might do to gravity what Michael Faraday's induction motor has done for the world around us. The electric motor is fundamental to everything about transportation and so many other aspects of our modern life. What I'm talking about is this. I believe that in the past 2 years I've made a profound and fundamental insight into the nature of gravitation. The short preview of that is that it will turn out to have a very direct relationship to magnetism, and the ability to refract, magnify, and in every sense of optics, do with the gravitational force what we can do with electromagnetism, because gravity is, not maybe, is an electromagnetic effect. The insight also suggests a very straightforward path of experimentation that I expect to continue and accelerate in the coming months. Over the next 90 days, I am engaged in the process of refining the most exciting business plan and technology IP licensing program that I've ever had the privilege of touching in my long career. This will be the biggest, the most refined, the most promising of any in my career. And so I'm not worried about whether that's going to be fundable or not, because it will be, and it is in the process of being restarted. Picked up the activities that were underway in 2023, but adding some remarkable new insights developed in 2024 and 2025 so far. These insights will be expressed in coming briefings, but I'm just thrilled with the opportunity to get back 100% focused on these breakthroughs that will touch every aspect of society over time. I share Elon Musk's conviction that we need to prioritize at nearly any cost getting to a position where we have Planet B. But for all sorts of reasons beyond gravitational propulsion alone, the insights to be leveraged for the benefit of humanity in material sciences, in health sciences, manufacturing, in every aspect of transportation. Breakthroughs at this level in physics will be as far-reaching as the light bulb and the electric motor, if not more so. So that's an additional note of importance at this time, and everybody has my commitment to maintain this focus for the duration, to see this discovery through, and to do so very much within our lifetimes. Starting this year, a new chapter will open. So thanks for your attention to this supplemental message. I'm excited. Let's take these next steps together.